All right, G, welcome back. And we were talking about reinforcement theory. The reinforcement theory argues that behavior is a function of its consequences. And there can be positive and negative reinforcements. The basic assumption in reinforcement theory are behavior is environmentally caused. Number two, behavior can be modified, reinforced by providing controlling consequences. And then the third assumption is related to reinforcement theory, that reinforced behavior tends to be repeated. There is another very important contribution coming from the equity theory. And the equity theory says that individuals compare their job inputs and outcomes with those of others and then respond to eliminate any inequality. And there can be 4 comparison points in relation with equity theory. And those 4 comparison points are self inside, self outside, others inside, and others outside. This is the demonstration of how these 4 things can be discussed. These 4 associations can be developed. The first situation is that output to input ratio of person A is less than the output to input ratio of person B. And that would be considered as under rewarded. And for that, the comparison point can be self inside, self outside, others inside, others outside. These can be the 4 comparison points. When we say that output to input ratio is equal to output to input ratio of the other person, so that is the equity. And when we say that output input ratio of the person A, we are focusing upon the person A, the output to input ratio of person B is less than the A, inequality due to being over rewarded is a situation. So in this particular comparison, we have said that output to input ratio of person A represents the employee and output input ratio of person B represents the relevant others. And those others can be self inside, self outside, others inside, and others outside. By inside, we mean to say the organization in which you are serving, and by outside, we mean to say in some other organization in the industry. The equity theory comes up with certain choices for dealing with inequity. Once the employee feels that inequity or injustice has taken place, so what they can do is that they can change their input. They would argue for increase in output. They can or change the perception of self. They can and they should change the perception of others. Or they can choose a different reference person. They can change the reference point. And if none of these are applicable or practical or doable, the 6th response we can expect is that the person might leave or quit the job. There are certain propositions related with inequity, and it says that inequitable pay would create the effect of over-rewarded hourly employees produce more than equitably rewarded employees, or over-rewarded piecework employees produce less but no higher quality piecework, and under-rewarded hourly employees produce lower quality work, or we can say that under-rewarded employees produce larger quantities of lower quality piecework than equitably rewarded employees. So these are the 4 important propositions relating to inequitable pay structures. Now we have to focus upon the organizational justice as well. When we say distributive justice, it means perceived fairness of the outcome, the final distribution, who got what, that should be justified and equitable. And procedural justice, which is talking about the perceived fairness of the process used to determine the outcome, which is the final distribution, that how was, who gets what decided. And then there is third type of justice, which is interactionist justice. And it says the degree to which one is treated with dignity and respect. And obviously it can ask a question that was I treated well or not. Victor Varone came up with an expectancy theory in relation with motivation. And in expectancy theory, Victor Varone said that the first level associated with our work is individual effort. And that individual effort is then linked with individual performance. And the individual performance is then linked with organizational rewards. And those organizational rewards are then linked with personal growth. So there are three levels, three relationships with which expectancy theory demonstrates its effectiveness. The first level is effort performance relationship. The second is performance reward relationship. And then there is reward to personal growth goals relationship. The bottom line of the discussion is that all three links between the boxes must be intact or motivation will not occur. Thus, individuals must feel that if they try, they can perform. And if they perform, they'll be rewarded. And when they are rewarded, the reward will be something they care about, which would obviously be linked with their needs. So Victor Varone named these three relations as effort performance relationship is known as expectancy, which means a person's perception about the extent to which his or her effort will result in a certain level of performance. Then performance outcome relationship is known as instrumentality. That is a person's perception that the extent to which performance at a certain level will result in the attainment of outcomes. And when we say outcome in relation with personal goals and personal development, so that is known as valence, which means how desirable each of the outcomes available from a job or organization is to a person. Now, Varone's expectancy theory in terms of expectancy, instrumentality, and valence can also call the creation of self-concept, self-efficacy, the elements of locus of control, the traits, the competencies, and the values at the first stage, which is expectancy stage, which creates the belief that if I try hard, I can do better. As we said in self-efficacy as well, I know I can. So that is the trigger we have in the expectancy. And that trigger can also get the environmental support. And the environmental support can come from peer and subordinate support, quality of material and equipment, availability of pertinent information, previous success at task, and obviously role-specific identities. These are all the things which can come from the environment and can support the self-concept, self-efficacy, and locus of control. And once these things are there, the instrumentality would be taking place, which is the belief that if I do better, I get a better reward. And eventually we reach to the level of motivation and balance, which is the value of the outcome to the person versus individual differences or indifferences and or aversion. So out of the discussion, we can develop a motivation equation then. The motivation equation is that inputs from organizational members in terms of time, effort, education, experience, skills, knowledge, and work behavior that leads to performance in terms of efficiency, organizational effectiveness, and the attainment of organizational goals, and ends at the outcomes received by organizational members in terms of pay, job security, benefits, vacation time, job satisfaction, autonomy, responsibility, a feeling of accomplishment, the pleasure of doing interesting work. Now, putting it all together, integrating the contemporary theories of motivation, individual comes with his or her effort according to the opportunities available. That effort gets moderated by the ability and the objectives performance evaluation system. Once that moderation has taken place, intervention has taken place, individual performance is demonstrated, and the performance can be reinforced. Once the performance is reinforced and performance evaluation criteria is incorporated, organizational rewards would be taking place, and those rewards would be moving towards the personal goal based upon the dominant needs of individuals. And those rewards would always be checked with the others, or it can be checked with our own self in the organization, working for some other department for another level. So organizational justice, equity, these things would be coming in. And this all can be materialized once the goal setting behavior is developed among the employees. And obviously goal setting behavior can always be developed if there is goal setting in a proper smart fashion, in a proper prioritized way, and all these things should be shared as well. Now let's move from concepts to applications of motivation. The first topic we need to talk about is job characteristics model. Job characteristic model basically focuses upon certain core job dimensions which can trigger the critical psychological states, and those critical psychological states can result into personal and work outcomes, the desirable personal and work outcomes. So the core job dimensions are skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback, which can trigger critical psychological states like skill variety, identity, and significance can trigger the meaningfulness in the work. The autonomy would create experience responsibility for outcome of the work, and the feedback is linked with knowledge of the actual result of the work activities. And these all combined together would result into high internal work motivation, high quality work performance, high satisfaction with the work, and low absenteeism and turnover. So employee growth and the need strength, it is associated with this job characteristic model. There is an equation related to motivating potential score, MPS, and motivating potential score can be calculated in association with core job dimensions, in which it is said that skill variety plus task identity plus task significance divided by 3, which are taking the average of it, should be multiplied with autonomy and feedback. And that would result into motivating potential score. Now we can look in this particular equation that the effect and the impact of autonomy and feedback is having a multiplier effect and impact. The people who work on jobs with high core dimensions are generally more motivated, satisfied, and productive. Job dimensions operate through the physiological states, psychological states in influencing personal and work outcomes, variables, rather than influencing them directly. So these core job dimensions are basically the triggers for the psychological states, the bent of mind thinking processes. Now look at the equation of performance now, that how the motivation is linked with performance. And it is said that the performance is a function of ability into motivation into opportunity. So again, we can see that if somebody is able, the appropriate opportunities are available, and the person is not motivated, the performance would be either zero or declined. Now, when we have to reward employees, again, it is in relation and association with motivation. We have to bear in mind 4 aspects. The first thing is what to pay and how to maintain internal and external equity, how to create justice. Second is how to pay, which is piece rate, merit-based, bonuses, profit sharing, gain sharing, employee stock options, or skill-based pay. Or we have to look at what benefits to offer, and that should be flexible benefits. And obviously, how to recognize employees, because inner satisfaction is another important phenomena we have just gone through. Now, let's cover the details of these points. When we say linking performance and pay, remember, we have to be clear about that why to link performance and reward, what can be the options for linking performance and rewards, and what can be the prerequisites for success. When we say why relate pay to performance, the first impression is for motivation. So motivating staff to lift their performance and increase their competence skills, that is the reason we need to motivate, we need to get the performance. And rewarding what matters is very important in terms of equity, belief that it is right and proper to rate pay to people's contributions and or performance. And in terms of message, which would be spread, is sending signals that organization regards performance as important. For example, reinforce the values. So that's how you relate motivation with the performance. We have to shift our mindset from entitlement focus to performance focus in that regard. When we say entitlement focus, that creates a sense of entitlement, creating when people receive something they want without having to do anything special for it. And in terms of performance focus, people frequently rewarded for achievements feel they have earned what they receive and do what is necessary to achieve desired results, in which show me the goal and I'll go for it. That can be the spirit we can follow in performance focused mindset. As I said earlier, that the shift is coming from entitlement focus to the performance focus. In terms of entitlement focus, we talk about regular pay increases, consumer price index linkage, and most people get a bonus, which means no consequences for poor performance because you are clear and you are understood that you'll get the return. And people take for granted what they have and expect more. So that's the tragedy linked with negative reinforcement. And in terms of performance focus, performance is measured, success is reinforced, and high performers get more. And this is in association with that people are held accountable and desirable behavior is encouraged and supported. Now, what are the increasing trends? It has been witnessed that increased focus on fixed and variable pay is taking place. Intensive pay spreading throughout organization groups, that is the norm of the day. Recognition programs are being established, and greater understanding of variety in pay programs is witnessed. So we are getting smarter at measuring performance. So both the performance management system and the metrics for relating pay to performance is being evaluated and calculated. Now let's look at rewarding employees with variable pay programs. And when we say variable pay programs, that means a portion of an employee's pay is based on some individual and or organization, which is the measure of performance. So we say that piece rate pay plans are established, profit sharing plans can be there, and gain sharing plans can be there. So when we say variable pay programs, it might include three aspects. The first one is piece rate pay plans, which means that workers are paid a fixed sum for each unit of production completed. But when we say profit sharing programs or plans, so organization-wide programs that contribute organizations based on some established formula designed around a company's profitability. But when we talk about gain sharing, that is an incentive plan in which improvements in group productivity determine the total amount of money that is allocated. And in terms of employee stock options, its definition can be that the company established benefit plans in which employees acquire stock as part of their benefit. And through that stock purchase, they can be entitled for dividend, and they can also go for economic value added and market value added. And this all can be done just to maximize the wealth of the shareholders. Skill-based pay plans are basically linked with the pay levels are based on how many skills employees have and how many major job duties they can do. And the benefits of skill-based pay plans are, it provides staffing flexibility, that at peak load, you can hire more, and in down load, you can, lay off them. So provides staffing flexibility, facilitates communication areas the organization is having. Lessons of production of territory behavior can be established, meets the needs of employees for advancement without promotion, and leads to performance improvement. These can be the benefits of skill-based pay plans. And the drawbacks at the same time can be lack of additional learning opportunities that will increase employee pay, continuing to pay employees for skills that have become obsolete, and paying for skills which are of no immediate use to the organization, and paying for a skill not for the level of employee performance for the particular skill. So these can be the drawbacks for skill-based pay plans. Now there are different flexible benefits we need to focus upon to motivate the people. So employees tailor their benefit programs to meet their personal need by picking and choosing from a menu of benefit options. The first set can be modular plans, which means pre-designed benefits packages for specific group of employees. There can be core plus plans, which means a core of essential benefits and a menu-like selection of other benefit options. And then there can be flexible spending plans, which would allow employees to use their tax-free benefit dollars to purchase benefits and pay service premiums. And we have to see that out of these different types of plans, which one you have to pick and why. Along with that, we also need to focus upon employee recognition programs, like intrinsic rewards stimulate intrinsic motivation, which may include that the personal attention given to employee, approval and appreciation of a job well done, growing in popularity and usage. When we say benefits of programs, it can fulfill employees' desire for recognition, inexpensive to implement, and encourages repetition of desired behaviors. These can be the benefits of the programs. And then there can also be the drawbacks of programs. For example, susceptible to manipulation by management. Now, linking skill-based pay plans and motivation theories, it says that the reinforcement theory is a starting point. From the reinforcement theory, we can focus upon certain skills to improve, and those skills are subjected to ERG theory related to growth and McLean's need for achievement model. And once these need and achievement models are dealt, that would also be linked with equity theory. So recognizing someone, giving the person the slogan employee of the month would trigger them for multiplied work because they're appreciated and they're valued. There are certain implications for the managers. In order to motivate employees, recognize the individual differences, use goals and feedbacks, allow employees to participate in decisions that affect them, and link rewards to performance and check the system for inequity and equity. So that basically concludes our topic of motivation. And now in our next Zoom meeting, we'll be starting the discussion related to communication. So please hurry up and join the next link.